came from Ohio several years ago and went to school here in Kentucky. Then I went to school in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And then I came back and worked at Bethany West Children's Home then for 39 years. After I retired, I started working here in town at Viper Graphics. I'm still there.
Still there, still working.
Yeah.
So were you born here?
No, I was born in Canton, Ohio.
Okay, and how come your parents to come over here?
I came down here to a Bible school, Kentucky Mountain Bible College. And then after that, I went to Chattanooga. And in the meantime, my parents moved to the children's home here in Wolfe County. So after I got out of college, I came back to Wolfe County to the children's home.
Came back to work here. Okay. It's always interesting how people get from one place to another, you know. This is really interesting. We're going to talk about type 2 diabetes. All right. So when you hear the word diabetes, what comes to your mind? What do you think of?
Well, it's devastating, kind of, because of what it can do to your body. You go blind, or kidney failure, or heart attack, or stroke, or just a lot. It affects your whole body.
And what's been your experience with diabetes?
I've got severe neuropathy, which is nerve damage, and my eyes aren't good, and I've had one stroke. Had one stroke due to it, so it's kind of scary.
Yeah. And how long have you had the disease?
In 1997, Dr. Maddox said I was diabetic. But when I finally found a diabetic doctor that helped me, he said I'd already had it 10 years because I already had very bad, very, very severe neuropathy, very painful.
So one of the concerns is that sometimes people don't get diagnosed soon enough.
Right.
Sounds like that might have happened to you.
Right, yes.
Did you have any symptoms, or was there anything that made you think maybe something was going on?
Sometimes I would get like real weak and shaky, so then I would drink pop and eat a candy bar or something, then I'd feel better. Also, I like driving to Lexington or something, I couldn't hardly stay awake. And if I'd take friends and they wanted to go shopping, I'd stay in the car and sleep until they got, and I just couldn't stay awake.
So, and how long did that go on?
Well, several months.
Is that what made you go to the doctor?
Yes. And thirsty. I would get real thirsty. So I knew, in fact, I knew when I went that that's what he was going to tell me, because I knew what diabetes did to you.
And what about in your family? Do you have other people?
No, I do not.
So you're the only one in the family?
That I know of.
Wow, so you were surprised when you got the disease?
Yes. And when my doctor asked me, after trying 5 doctors, I finally got one to help me. And after that, he told me that it was due to stress. He thought it was due to stress working. I was dorm parent and print shop and drove a van. Even when I was in this condition, I drove the school van. And just at Bethany, I was everything the superintendent.
Yeah.
It was very stressful.
Yeah. And stress plays havoc with our bodies. We don't always realize that, do we? Yeah. So when you got diagnosed, and the doctor said you had diabetes, what happened then when you went home?
Well, he started me out right away on shots. So I came back, I think, for a week, twice a day, and got shots. And kept doing that, and kept trying to eat right and everything. And I just started losing weight, and it kept going. So somebody suggested I try another doctor, so I did. And in fact, I tried 3 other doctors, and they all would send me home and tell me to keep track of my sugar for a month. And in the meantime, I kept losing weight. And finally, I found one in Lexington. And by that time, I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk. And couldn't stand up hardly at all. And so right away, he said, if there's one thing I could do for you today, what would it be? And I said, take away the pain. And that was that neuropathy, the pain. I couldn't understand it. And so then he sent me home to take some medicine. And I'd say within a week, I started that I could eat. I didn't want to eat or couldn't eat. And I started eating, and things just kind of turned around for me. So, and he changed my insulin. My insulin's been changed about 3 times or more. And so, in a month's time, I was able to at least stand up and walk to the bathroom. And I couldn't cook, or I lost so much weight that I just was like all wrinkled. My legs were all wrinkled. I don't know how many pounds.
You're doing pretty good now, though.
I'm doing all right. It's just hard to control.
Yeah.
He told me, my doctor told me if he could get it at an average of 150, he would be happy. Well, it's better than that. But still, as I said before, it just swings up and down. I have a hard time controlling.
Yeah. Do you go to a specialist now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you're doing about all you can do. And I know you're pretty conscientious because I see you at all the meetings, so I know you're trying really hard. Yeah, and it does make this unpredictable things can really make a difference, can't they? Yeah, I do understand some of that. So, what do you think caused you to have diabetes? Do you think the stress? Do you think that was?
Because I don't know. I don't know many in my family because actually I was adopted. But I did find some of my family members, and all my siblings, they don't have it, and my mom didn't have it. And when I told my doctor that, he said he thinks it was a lot of it due to stress, because we didn't work 8 hours. I'd get up at 6 and maybe get in bed 10, 11 o'clock after I put the kids to bed and run all day, hard. And that's what he thinks.
Yeah. Did you live there too?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really
24/7.
Yeah, I was going to say even when you went to bed at night, you probably listened with one ear, didn't you?
Had the kids to watch out for.
You're not working there now,
No.
but you've seen a lot of children in your lifetime. A lot of children in this community probably still do. Do you see problems with overweight and obesity?
I see a lot of overweight children.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
And what kinds of concerns do you have about that?
Well, for one thing, they don't get enough exercise. They're always on the computer or something. You know, like when I was a kid, we was outside all the time, could be, and do things, you know, we didn't consider exercise. But I don't see them riding bikes or playing ball or doing a lot of things like we used to do. I don't know.
Did you used to play games with your siblings and neighbor kids?
Always, yeah. We was always out doing something.
Yeah. Did you walk to school?
I just lived across the street.
Well, you were lucky then. Some kids had to walk a long ways.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, I lived across the street.
Yeah. Did you bring your lunch?
No, I came home for lunch.
You went home for lunch, and that was something that people did quite a lot in past, but now most kids aren't allowed to go home or they live too far to go home. What do you think we might do different to help families deal with all of the pressures and concerns and that actually cause a risk for this poor eating and limited activity?
Well, I don't know. They don't have work. A lot of them don't have work. But I don't think that they get out and do much of anything. It's either too hot or too cold. And then, of course, they always provide the kids with all these games for handheld games or computer games. And I just think they don't do much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know the schools are trying. They have, soccer and baseball, and basketball,
right,
and things like that. But now, for the younger kids, I think they start out eating junk food and drinking pop. And it just becomes kind of a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And parents don't. I don't think a lot of parents don't really cook that much. It's just chips and hot dogs and hamburgers, things like that.
What do you think we could do in the community to help make a difference?
Well, have more activities, more family activities, and the park that we just now have is, I see kids there a lot. Parents are sitting down, but the kids are doing things, and there's a couple of tracks you can walk on if they want to and if they will. There just needs to be more activities. I know in the winter, in one of the gyms, they have volleyball during the winter for people to exercise, but you can't hardly get enough out for a team.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Somebody was telling me, not in this community, but another community, that used to be in the past, churches would often compete with each other.
Right, for volleyball we did, but then there was only a few would come out. So there's just not an interest.
But you used to do that in this community.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I mean, I just think that's interesting that, that the churches, the people themselves would be active and play different, kind of a church league activity.
And they used to have, I don't think last winter, but winter before, they had the high school gym open in the winter, and you could go in the gymnasium and walk. A lot of people did that.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever do it?
Yes.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
And how often a week did you go and do that?
They didn't have it open every day.
Okay.
And plus, I'd go maybe once a week.
Okay. Did you see other people there when you went?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It seemed like it was a pretty good thing, but I don't know what happened to that.
Yeah. So that might be something to encourage again. Yeah. Do you think that churches could do anything to make a difference in the community?
If they could pull together, the ministerial association, I think it kind of fell apart, and now they have a meeting once a year and plan for these things and different things in the churches,
mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving and different things. They only meet once a year, and I don't know how many come to it, but it was very poorly attended until they quit.
Yeah.
The once a month thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of interesting that someone today told me there were maybe more than 70 churches in the county.
Yes, there's a lot of churches. They don't.
Yeah. Probably a lot of ministers are part-time ministers too. They work some. Do you think there's anything, let me ask you this way. If you could suggest one thing to people that are living with diabetes, what might that be?
Try to eat right and exercise. Take your medicine. Sometimes I forget. I can't believe it, but I do. I forget my shots, or I forget,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's important.
And do you live by yourself?
Yes, I do.
And so do you think it's more challenging? Because you're not the only one probably in Wolfe County that lives by himself.
Right.
That can be a little difficult sometimes.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it is.
Is there any precautions that you take?
try to eat right and try to exercise even in the winter. I walk like the length of my trailer or do something like that, or get out and shovel snow or just something to try to keep moving. But then I do work, so that helps some. But then a lot of the time I just sit at a computer.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help me.
Yeah. I understand that. That's where I find myself too often. Well, I think I've asked all the questions that I had on my list. Is there anything else that you can think of that's important you want to add?
People just need to realize that if you have diabetes, it's serious. You need to try to take care of yourself, do what you're supposed to do. Because if you don't, it'll get you. Some way or other.
And we don't want that.
No.
Thank you very much.